somebody must have done an interview recently and brought up a fact that is old. Cause I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is everybody talking about? I'm literally like that. Back when YouTube first came out, this song was on mixtapes. This song was leaked in 2006. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, well, let's get there. It's your boy Carcino here. We finna get into this and talk about what's actually been going on with this Snoop Dogg dissing Biggie on a record, and what was the cause of it, and when did this transpire? Well, here's the thing. What the Outlaws know, and um, what the Dog Pound know, and what Death Row know, this all happened in a time frame in which the Source Awards, this was after the fact. Now, when all of this was happening, they hadn't come through and did all the things that they did, meaning the Dog Pound, and nobody seems to believe that they played a part in any of it. And this is part of the issue. You know, no one wants to take heed and say they did this, they did that, or no one's taking responsibility for anything. So when you have a bunch of people not taking responsibility, you have all of this inconsistency. You have all these stories that are marked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help people here. I'm literally going to help people get through it because I don't think many understand, like what it is that they're talking about, what all they've lost, what all we missed out on. It's a lot of different things that happened. So, and thank you guys who've been donating to my Cash App. Sincerely yours. Thank you again. I appreciate that. That was very unexpected, but I am very appreciative. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Now, before Tupac came to Death Row, now notice, I said before Tupac came to Death Row. Right? The Dog Pound made an album called Dog Food, where they had a song called, what was that? New York, New York. So everyone freaked out. New York, New York, big city and dreams. So everybody loved the song. New York, New York. Right? Now, the Source Award comes out, and you find out that a lot of people are not really feeling that record in New York. Because when the Source Awards came out, this this album hadn't been released. So this was after Snoop goes on stage, holds up the baseball bat, And, Snoop Dogg, y'all don't love Death Row and Snoop Dogg. This was during that time. So this had nothing to do. This had nothing to do with Tupac. See, a lot of you guys weren't born in, so I understand you guys don't know what was going on and transpiring. But the Source Awards was in August. Okay? It was in August of 95. Dog Pound album came out probably 2 months after that. This record was made during that time. So they made this song, they never released it. So when they made New York, New York, and came and did the, doing that whole altercation, when they came to shoot the New York, New York video in New York, and that was like the diss record. And Biggie got on the radio station and was like, how they gonna make a song called New York, New York dissing us and shooting a video in New York and y'all allowing that? So some dudes from Queens and everyone, they went down there and started shooting at the set. Started blasting at them. They had to close the set down. And they shot some of the scenes up in Philly. And Snoop was kicking down the buildings in the video. Now, according to Snoop, which Snoop is a known liar, I've always told you guys about Snoop. So what? I don't understand how people aren't surprised. One minute he loved Pac, the next minute I'm like, dude, you gotta understand, Snoop has always been two-faced like this. If he tell you a story about Pac, that story gonna change 55 times. I don't think he purposely do it. I just think he high. He probably just don't remember. But I'm here to give you the clarity so you guys will know the truth and we can put all this behind us. Right? And we can move on. Because I didn't know this was a big thing to today. Everybody's talking about it. I'm like, this thing is so old. A lot of it just wasn't making sense. So, going through the progressions, we started to see different things. You know, you started to see an entire difference with, how teams were, I mean, not teams, how crews was moving. So after they went back home, that's when they recorded the song. Because they heard about what Biggie did at the radio station. Biggie was on the radio telling people to do that to y'all. So that's why Snoop was on the song. I told you, I'll be there on a red eye. You're fat, black, and white, and you got a dead eye. So believe me, ain't nothing whack about Big. Big would have ate him for lunch. There was no love lost there. So when they was down there doing the actual songs and everything else and the records, Biggie was working on the double CD. And that's why on the song Somebody's Got to Die, when he was like, I'm trying to sell records like Snoop. Oops. It was like a little shot at Snoop because Snoop album didn't do what it was supposed to do. And it was like out of fun. They were cool at that point, but it was like a fun jab. And try to sell records like Snoop. Oops. Snoop had dropped Doggy Style at that point, and the Dog Father rather, and it barely sold 2 million records, and that was like way below what a Snoop album was supposed to do. Well, Snoop album went up against Little Kim's album. They came out at the same time, and they went battling Little Kim's album. Needless to say, Little Kim had the better record and basically sold about the same amount of copies. Now, when this all transpired, that song was made, right? The song never was released. Now, when Tupac comes home, there's all this animosity for Biggie. They felt like that too. Snoop and the Dogg Pound, they didn't deal with each other. They felt a certain way. And things didn't get lit until, they came back to New York for that Source Awards, and Puff was showing all this love, and it was so much animosity this time when they went back. This is the first time they've been back since the Source Awards and the New York video. They haven't been back in New York, and they come in there for the MTV Awards, and Snoop had just went through the trial. He just completed this murder trial. He had a whole new outlook on life because he was almost gone to jail for a very long time. So this is a whole different Snoop. His mindset is in a whole different way because he just won this trial. He had Johnny Cochran as his lawyer, and he won the case, and him and his homeboy beat the case and got away with the murder case, and he was just so thankful. He had his father there, who he hadn't seen in so long until this case was going down, and it took a lot out of him. So when Pac was back and all that, he was still back in Pac, but his mind and mentally, he was in a different space. He ain't had no animosity with Big no more. He didn't have any animosity with Puff. So when he went out to the East Coast for the thing, Pac was all on the war thing. And he was ready to, get down. And so when Snoop was on the radio, he was like, look, man, I ain't got no problems with them and everything else. Like, those dudes don't want it. They ain't riding down on Pac and nothing. So they don't want to battle, and I'm cool on that. And that's why Pac didn't like him, because like there were songs that they had that people thought were together. And people telling me, no, the Outlaws said that they did songs together. The Outlaws, let me tell you something. There are songs out there that were done that didn't make a lot of sense. And they weren't constructed the way you think they were constructed. Like Pac and Snoop went in the booth to record a song to diss Biggie now. That wasn't the case. That song that they got, Daz was making the beats. Okay? So when Daz was making the tracks and making the beats, what they would do is have all these vocals that were already recorded. Like that song, Tupac is not on that record. What they would do is take Pac would hit a record, make a verse for that beat and record, and jump on it. And they would insert Tupac on that record. So now you put Tupac on that record, and now it looks like Tupac and Snoop, and everybody made a song to diss Biggie. And that's how a lot of Tupac's records was done, because they already had records done, finished, and completed. Like that song, My Mind Made Up. Come on, get into. That song was recorded with the Dogg Pound, Method Man, Redman, Inspector Deck, the Lady of Rage. There's about 50 people on that song. And Deck, everybody thought Deck had the illest verse on that song. And that version was never released. They cut. Tupac ended up taking the record and said, keep Method Man and Redman because I want an East Coast record. And then he used the East Coast style. on that record to show his variation. He had to have a song on the album that goes back to the East Coast. And to this day, that's my buddy. He's from Jersey, so he loves that record. And was like, man, that's the only song on that album I like. I was like, I mean, I get him. He's East Coast, but yeah, he could tell an East Coast record right away. And he's like, man, Pac was whack on that whole album. Until that song, I was like, yeah, he used the East Coast flow. Well, damn, how many people blowing me up? Did I win the lottery or something? I mean, damn. So, anyhow, he loved that record. If you go back and listen to the lyrics, you'll hear how it's different from everything he was doing on the album. He's in the East Coast style because he's on there with Redman, Method Man. So it's more, lyrical metaphors, and the whole different type of style. After that, because I know they took everybody later Rage, everybody got cut off, and when the song came out and Method Man and Redman on there with Tupac, they like, whoa, wait a minute, we ain't record the song with him. How did we get on a song with Tupac? Now everybody in New York was looking at Redman and Method Man a little funny because they like, dude, you doing a song with Pac and him and they dissing Big like that, dog, Meth? Was you that type of dude, Meth? Like, you know what I'm saying? They got problem with Big and you supposed to be Big's man, you know. So the East Coast dude was giving him, they was like, look, we understand, we like the fact that we're gonna get paid for being on the record because they made a lot of money off that record. Method Man and Redman made a lot of money being on that record. It sold 5 million copies. That album, that song was on there and made a lot of things possible. And the fact that they had writing credits on there, they made some money off of it. So they did pretty well for themselves. Now, naturally, that's how the song went. What they did with the Biggie Tupac song. I mean, the Snoop Dogg and Pac, they were gonna put Pac vocals on there. So if you hear Pac vocals on a song like that, you know that was the case. There's a lot of Death Row songs they went and inserted on there, but those songs were recorded at different times. So there is no real like him being two faced in this case. Snoop was just it was just how people were feeling at that moment in time is the reason they did it. I mean, if somebody go on a radio station and basically tell somebody to come blast at you, and they blast at you, you ain't what you supposed to say on the record. That's my homeboy. No, they made up and they were cool and everything was everything at that point. That's it. That's the truth of all of it. So hopefully this was informative for you. I got a lot of things going on right now at this time that everybody want to come at the last second. Definitely check out the Patreon and tell me what you think. It's your boy Carcino. I'm out.